Okay. Let's you ready to go?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I needed help with is that I know that we got like 900 droplets coming out in the winter,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I'm trying to figure out the most efficient use of my mesos between upgrading gear, saving up to buy out the droplets. Because I'm assuming it's probably gonna be like 50-50 between the event currency and mesos.
It's more actually. Yeah, it's 100 event and 800 meso.
Oh,
So it's
jeez.
up to 40 bill if you want to buy them all out.
I mean, that's doable because I use Maple points for the Maple tour every week.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I do have a while. It's probably going to be until like late January when you probably have to like buy them out at the latest or something.
yeah,
So there's quite a bit.
and I mean we'll get to the gear later, but I'm not touching my app so past 17.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I got a ton of upgrading to do with my accessories. I've been waiting for superior drops for the earrings and the belt.
Right.
Um, but I guess the biggest thing I needed to know is what should I focus on, whether it's cubing, flaming, or star forcing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, with the Legion, I usually have like off event, I have like one character that I'm getting up to 200 when I get tired of playing my main.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get it up eventually. I'm just working at it over time.
Yeah, no pressure there. You already, yeah, project got the 3.5. We got the burns right now. What are you working on for burn right now?
Blaster, he's like 215 right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I was debating on either Angelic Buster for the length skill or Night Lord because I really don't want to play Night Lord for the crit rate
Mm-hmm.
Legion block.
Yeah,
How easy is Angelic Buster to level up? Because that might be the deciding factor.
yeah. I feel like they both have not too great of starts. Between the two of them, Night Lord probably has it worse though.
I might burn Night Lord then.
Yeah, it takes a while for it to come online because the Assassin's Mark basically does nothing early on.
Yeah.
Oh, Purge was saying OP. I just remember that it wasn't really my thing, so that can mentally make it at least feel like it takes longer than it may have actually done. Yeah. So I guess so. The main thing is like equip somewhere to direct your funds. Yeah, and saving up for the droplets and everything. That's going to be something long process, but that's the long term vision, right?
Yeah. Because I got lucky with with an arcane cape drop,
Right. I saw that. Yeah.
and I think I have 12 coins,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm saving those up to get the weapon first,
Yeah.
and then going for an Abso hat.
Yeah.
But in
The
the meantime,
exchange should be coming, or they're hoping to put the exchange in the July update, right?
yeah. But in the meantime, I've between getting carries or running normal Lucid with the guild. Um, I'm doing Lucid at least every week. I'm not high enough level to do Will yet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I'm hoping that by the winter update, I'll have enough boss droplets to be able to get a full set at least.
Yeah, it should be a bunch of normal will practice runs and then moving into hard will later. Level is going to be important there, but yeah, you know about that. Like
Yeah, I heard you
getting to
need to be
250.
close to 250 to hit full
Mm-hmm.
damage.
Yeah, Will himself is level 250, so any level below that makes the run just a bit tougher. So
Yeah,
yeah, the whole party doesn't need to be like 250 plus, but the more people are, the easier it is. I guess as like a small side thing, I mean, just but like in general, if you're gonna go for the arcane gear and everything, typically advise not to make the coins too early, especially not with the exchange and everything coming on. To make sure that you don't like, well, I mean, it takes extra inventory space, but to make sure that you don't like make extra when when you don't end up don't needing it or something. That'd be kind of a waste.
Yeah, I heard about that on your last progression stream. So I stopped when I got the 12 coins.
Okay.
Um, that way, depending on whatever drops I get or whatever I end up exchanging,
Yeah.
I'll just keep that in mind that I can get one piece of gear from it.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Is it a little bit tempting to buy something else instead of holding on for the weapon? Because I assume that's the compensation weapon, right?
The one I have in my inventory, but I rolled 2 lines of magic attack and boss damage on my app, so
I saw. Yeah. That probably overpowers it then.
yeah, it's a little bit less visual range, but the boss damage, I
Yeah.
guess, takes care of that.
Yeah. It's what is it? 10 IED loss, but then 30 boss and the Abzo set bonus.
Yeah, and I was messing around with the IED calculator
Mhm.
before the stream, and I mean, with my boost nodes, I mean, it's not efficient because I have
Yeah, I saw that. You don't
a-
have pictures of your boost nodes, but I see that it's like 15 plus. So they're in 3 nodes, right?
yeah, um, but that was just because I wanted to. If I don't have my aura scythe up, the 5th job skill,
Mm-hmm.
I'm using finishing blow and dark shock, so I wanted those to be maxed as fast as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
But with the IED from that, and the inherent IED, with the skills themselves, I'm at like 95%, even though my visual is only 88
Hmm.
or 89.
Okay. Wait, what do you have like in terms of like functional? I guess that's not in the visible because of the auras, or
Well, so the aura, I think, lowers the enemy's defense by 20%.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's calculated any different than if I have 20% ignore
No,
defense.
it's essentially the same. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Obviously the 20% from the level 40 boost nodes.
Mm-hmm.
Aura Scythe ignores 50%, and Finishing Blow also ignores 20%.
Okay.
It's not included.
Right. That's the aura you're talking about. It's like the weak. Is it the weakening aura?
Yeah.
No.
The Weakening Aura, it's enemy defense minus 20%, and then with the Hyper skill, or passive skill, it also reduces elemental resistance by 10% and increases final damage by 10%.
Hmm. Right. Right. That's the one that's really good for parties, right?
Yeah.
So,
And I've heard conflicting things about the inner ability too. Some say that battle mages don't need attack speed, and some say they do.
yeah, that changed. I already looked that up as well just to make sure because I saw your inner-ability as part of that's one of the things I saw. And I saw you were pretty low in honor experience. I was like, that's definitely something we need to get into because that's shifted with how
So,
the aura stuff works. I believe now that
like,
battle mages don't need it anymore.
so boss damage would, I guess, be the way to go.
Yeah, I think the advised would now be 20 boss, 20 crit, and then magic attack would be like the ideal setup.
So yeah, about the crit though, I mean, even without the Legion, I'm capping on crit.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure where I'm getting it from. It might be the event buff.
That might be part of it. Do you have any Legion blocks? Like, well, you have like 3%. That's not a huge differential. I guess Link skills, right?
Yeah, I am using the Phantom Link skill.
Yeah, so that's usually for min-maxing later on. It's just the idea is the amount of damage you can get from one line of your inner ability is less than what you can get from an extra damaging Link. So then it's to min-max it late game would be try to go for the critical rate so you can equip a more damaging Link skill instead.
Yeah, I'll probably be replacing the, I guess the Phantom Link then with the Angelic Buster Link.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that, because the burst that you have can be increased, and so that the the other one only has crit rate, right? So that's an easy one-to-one switch. But yeah, it could be a combination of the event buff as well, right?
Yeah, I saw whenever you were setting up your Fire Poison Mage for Project CRA,
Mm-hmm.
how you're moving your Legion around to fit in with your inner ability and whatever link skills to optimize.
Yep.
So I guess once I get my Legion up and get all my link skills done, I'll have to look into most optimal way and my hyper stats.
Yeah, it's
I was
all
pretty low.
a big puzzle.
Yeah, I was pretty low on it IED, so that's why that's at level 12.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be resetting that after the event.
Yeah, in favor of some damage and boss damage, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easier to do once you have a 40% clunk in in your Legion grid. That definitely takes care of a whole lot of ID necessities that you might have, plus the depending on what kind of familiar you're working with.
Yeah, and then I just realized there was something else I forgot to include, and that was my nodes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're sitting at level 10, 9, 9, 11, and 10. But I've been pretty lazy about that, considering money was tight, and the 1,000 arcane symbols I just got done using. But I'll be doing dailies every day now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's like event stores are a main place to get nodes, right?
Yeah.
And it'll pretty much always be necessary, so until you're completely decked out and maxed out, nodes from the shop are always a good idea.
So, I guess that covers most of that, and now it's onto the gear.
Yeah, do you think, do you feel comfortable with all the other stuff? You don't have any other questions about link skills, Legion, familiars?
Yeah, for me, Legion will come as it comes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to, focus on grinding that too much and having my main fall behind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mainly once the boss ID and crit damage, right? And maybe some crit rate, like those stats. It's not only like the Legion, but it's like your link skills, leveling your link skills, the member bonus, and the Legion board, the grid bonus. Like all of those together, they do supplement your character very much. If you're maining one character like hyper specifically, then it is not as efficient as if you're playing multiple characters, of course, because then you're funding all of them at once with it. So then it has more value for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, if you feel confident with all the other topics, you can more specifically look at the equips. Because I don't think, you're aware of the ID calculator, crit we talked about, invulnerability we talked about. Yeah, what should we say? I assume that you know better what your hyper skills should be at than I do for BattleMage.
I just changed them up too. That's also kind of split in the community.
Mm-hmm.
But
depending on if you're more soloing or more supporty, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I just managed to finally solo CPAP the other night.
Nice.
And that was just because I realized that when the lasers touch, if I'm inside that party shield, I'm immune to it.
You're just like, immune, yeah.
And then that was the one thing that got me, because I either had really bad luck, and they would spawn in a really awkward spot where you'd have to be jumping to block the lasers. And But I've been able to consistently solo them now, so just praying for a PAP mark.
Yeah, that'll take a while probably, but just keep on praying, I guess.
Now, the Superior Galaxy equips and the PAP mark, those are not affected by drop gear, correct?
Yeah, that's the leading theory right now, yeah.
Okay.
I guess we can never be 100% sure, but it seems like it, because whenever they change the drop rate of items that they have said are not affected, then PAP mark is usually taken into that same group, and the fact that some people with 300% plus drop can actually go 2 years without getting one, that kind of very strongly suggests that it probably isn't affected, you know. For Galaxy, it's pretty sure. There have been some people who are doing like a long form tests, and they have found very big disparities in with drop and without drop when it comes to the lower tier gear, even up to reinforced. But the superior, there was virtually no difference between the two situations of running like several months, 300% drop compared to none whatsoever. So it seems like it's not affected.
Yeah, I've been doing Helix for about a month now, and I haven't gotten a single drop yet.
I got my first one after I reached 1,600 coins on my Adele earlier this week. Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. It's a lot of runs.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels especially bad because the runs are so long as well, and it's still like go in with buff razors and try to not lag.
Yeah, I used to struggle like really bad when I first started, and I'd probably die out maybe every 2 and 5 runs.
Mm-hmm.
But now I've got it down to where I'm unlucky if I die out or take one death,
Mm-hmm.
and I got it down to about like a 4-minute run for
Nice.
Helix.
Yeah, reliably being able to kill Helix is a very, very important milestone to progressing your character for sure. It's good that you have that covered. And the other bosses around the same level, like Ketchy and HMAG, those are no problem.
Oh yeah, HMAG takes 20 or so seconds. Catchy. I mean, it depends on the damage reflect, but I've never had an issue with him.
Hmm. Yeah, he's just a little bit annoying. That's.
Yeah, I haven't tried Lotus and Damien solo yet. I usually just arrange a struggle party for those.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deal with the headache. The mechanics are simple enough. I just don't like going into a boss if it's a 20-minute
Yeah, exactly.
fight.
Like knowing that you could solo is one thing, but like soloing it every single week is just unnecessary. Once you get strong enough and you can walk in, roll it and then walk out, just moonwalk out of there with your 100 mil crystal. That's the ticket. But until then, yeah, in the build up, just get a party and make your life a little bit simpler.
Best defense is a good offense.
Yeah, exactly.
Burst them, don't give them a chance to kill you.
Yeah, that's that helps with a lot of that stuff. Yeah. Can't believe they still have that glitch in Lotus with the platforms that sometimes if you stand on the platforms, your game just closes.
Oh, really?
It just kicks you to the login screen, yeah. Be like unable to connect to the server. Be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Using the game mechanic versus the killing skill. Disconnects you. Beautiful. Yeah, so you have the cape and planning on tracing that out. New weapon, Abzo fully to Abzo you're not changing much. That makes sense. Yeah, the tricky thing is accessories and backups. CRA is usually higher on the list of obviously quote unquote the thing to work on, right?
Yeah.
So how are we doing in terms of backups? What's that looking like?
So I have 2 Condor Ring backups.
2 now, okay.
See.
2. I see 2 reinforced here. We may have gotten an extra.
Yeah, so with the Superior Golix for earrings, I was going to use one of the 17-star scrolls that we're getting from the event.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that I'll get a drop within the event time frame.
Right.
And I was planning on using the other one on my Superior Golix ring.
Right. That's the one in your inventory, right? Yeah.
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 But it's still sitting at unique, and there's no point swapping it out till I get it to 17.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I know that the scrolls aren't necessarily meso efficient, but I'd rather not worry about safeguarding and the headache of that.
And accidentally unsafeguarding the stupid pop-ups and the yeah, it's mainly time saver. You just click, done, move on.
Yeah. And then I want to get the Superior Golix set as soon as possible. That way I can, divest some of my Legion board out of IED and into something more useful.
Yeah.
That extra 20% will help a lot.
It's 30%. Yeah, it's a really good chunk. Yeah, and it also makes it so that for most people they tend to have like a line of IED at this point, and then once you get the Golix, you can reroll that. But you're not relying on it right now, so that's pretty good. I don't know how much you would divest from the IED though, because like you go into high IED, but that's only when you have Aura Scythe up, right? And that's all your bursts, but then off burst your IED would be substantially lower, right?
Yeah, so I think off burst I'm at 91% IED, and with Aura Scythe I'm at like 94, maybe 95.
Mm-hmm. And that's also with the current event buff. So
yes.
I think even with Golix, you probably stay around the same point when it comes to IED. for your Legion board, if anything, probably increase the Legion board, but probably redo the hyper stats a little bit instead, and like go a little bit lower in IED there and do more in damage and boss damage. But for the Legion board, I would probably keep like the same level of IED, or maybe even go up.
Okay.
For later on in the game, because it, you know, there's like that magical threshold of like 93 IED or something that's still in a lot of people's brains. But the further you go and the more sources of stuff you have, you do want to go higher on the IED, because it is a very important final damage source. You know how IED works with PDR, how that interacts?
Not the math behind it, but I do remember hearing somewhere where having higher, you're never going to hit your full damage against the boss.
Yeah, you're never going to hit 100%.
Unless you have 100
yeah.
IED, which is mathematically impossible, I guess.
Yeah, there should be if one skill gives you 100%, then you have it, but then all the other sources of IED essentially do nothing. So it's like, it's either 100 or it's the combination of all the lines you have, which will probably go up to 99.9 something.
Okay.
So the thing is that depending on how much PDR the boss has, and all the later ones have 300, and then Saren even has 390. So it's pretty simple in the sense that your IED ignores the percentage that it is of how much PDR the boss has, but which essentially means that if the boss has 100% and you ignore 91%, then 9% of your damage gets blocked, so you deal 91% of your final damage. Is essentially, but the later bosses have 300%. So what that means is that even if you get up to like 94% functional, they're still, because they have 300%, there's still 18% of your damage being blocked. Yeah, so you deal 82% of your final damage. So if you can get from 94 to say 96, it's 2% higher, but you go from 18 being blocked to only 12 being blocked. So you go from doing 82% of your damage to 88% of your damage. So that's not even that's more than a 6% increase, right? Because it's 6% on the 82 that you were doing. So that's probably like a 6 point whatever % increase in your damage.
And that's basically final damage, right?
Yeah, and that's a final damage increase. And at that level, any kind of final damage increase that you can get, it tends to be insanely expensive. So IED is something where in the beginning, if you have like a lot of sources, the bosses don't really need it. It's whatever. Don't use too much of it. And then after a certain point, you have to get an enormous chunk to even be able to hit the bosses. Then you kind of ignore it again for a while. But then in the end game, it becomes really important again, because everything else becomes so much more expensive to min-max on. And that's basically the point. But when you're at that point, that's basically when you're trying to go for high IED and high boss damage familiars. And then those will kind of dictate, like, let's say that you hit 230% IED familiars or something. Well, that means that if you can equip those, that means that you can probably go a little bit lower on the hyper stats, a little bit lower on the Legion. Probably still keep the link skills, but then you can move the pieces in the Legion around a little bit. But if you get 230% boss IEDs, well, now it means you probably need to go higher on your hyper stats, full blown in the Legion, make sure that all your links are on, so that the total damage output still stays efficient.
Okay. Yeah, that's I guess one big thing is I'm not at Moonbridge yet, and I'm too lazy to farm Fest 2 for some familiars.
Yeah.
All I have familiar wise is I have an item drop rate familiar, a meso drop rate familiar, and a 15% IED familiar.
You have 2 slots available, or?
Yeah, 2 slots.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I'm farming, I'll go with the item and the meso drop familiars. If I'm bossing, I go for the item and the IED familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine for now. Yeah, if you're working on your Legion, you can throw your familiars at this guy and see if you can maybe find another IED, or maybe find a little bit of healing. But essentially, at this stage, that's like all you can really expect of you. It's really only on once you get into Moonbridge, because I mean, you say lazy, but I think it's pretty inefficient to like go back. It's probably better to just work a little bit more on Legion maybe, and then get the like those side stats, right? all of those big stats from that instead, than to bank too hard on the familiars, and then instead just rush to 245. And then, because from what I heard as well, and for BattleMage, but for a lot of classes, is that Moonbridge can be very, very good for a lot of classes with some insane rates. And on top of all of the droplets that brings with you, all of the nodes and all of the familiar cards, that really gets you the efficiency out of your drop rate as well.
Yeah, the Fest 2 familiars I do have, I've gotten just from leveling Legion there and transferring over the familiar cards.
Yeah, exactly.
But until I get to Moonbridge, I guess that's really my only option.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. So how are you doing with speaking of drop rate? Like, how are you doing with the equip set? How's that all set up?
So what I have equipped is both my DPS set and my drop set.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a greed pendant that I just bought. For some reason, I thought they were time limited. I didn't realize they were permanent.
Yeah, someone asked it in a previous session as well if they were time limited, and yeah, I guess they could have been, yeah, but they're not.
Yeah, because I used to play a lot on the private servers, and they were always time limited there. So I just assumed it was the same.
Yeah. Yeah, weird differences. So we have 3 meso and 2 drop.
Yeah.
Looks like it. Yeah. We've got oh wait, you have a really nice dominator with a good flame, really good flame. Are you planning on transposing that one? Yeah.
I just managed to flame one that was 64 int, 4 magic attack, and 4% all stat.
64, 4, 4. So 112 aces. It's about the same as this one, I would say. Does the other one have luck?
The other one, no, it's just 16 strength.
Yeah, this one is, yeah. I think according to the flame calculator, if you like, roughly throw it in there for endgame, this one, this one would be 1 flame score higher, so they're essentially the same. Because ideally you want to transpose at 16, right? But this one's already at 17. Is the other one still?
The other one's at 16.
Yeah, okay, yeah, then I would transpose.
I mean, I could safeguard and just try Star Force.
Well, you can't safeguard at 17. You can't, because you'd be trying to go past, right? You can only safeguard up to 17, yeah. So you have to like risk booming, then if it booms, like trace it over, and it's a whole shit show. Yeah, it's only 1 flame score, so I would go for, I would just use the 16 one.
Yeah.
So wait, you but like on it you say 300 coins away from Superior Pendant. Are you planning to transfer hammer this one over?
Well, the 2 pendants, I have one that's going to be the Sweetwater, and the other one's going to be the Gollux pendant.
Yeah,
so I'll be replacing the Mechanator with, I guess, the Sweetwater, and the Dominator pendant with the Gollux pendant.
Yeah, but you still want to keep drop rate gear as well, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess I'll have the Mechanator as one of my drop rate, and I'll re-roll the Dominator pendant for either meso or drop.
Yeah, but okay. So you're not planning to transfer hammer or Dominator into the Superior, right? You'll just Star Force the Superior as itself, just safeguard to 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now I just want to make sure, because if you transfer hammer this, then you do lose a very nice piece of potential drop on meso gear. Yeah, because the flame is so good, so it will definitely keep your base damage way higher because of the flame, and you're already, if everything goes into meso and drop gear, you're already losing a lot of kill potential. So want to make sure that you stay as strong as possible if you want to go full drop and full meso and still be able to clear the monsters properly.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, yeah, you were getting back on the horse with the dailies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's going to be an important one, especially if you're looking at Moonbridge in the future. You do need quite a bit of arcane power for that. So
yeah, I was already struggling with Morass whenever I was doing the quest for that.
Yeah.
Granted, I got a level 10 symbol after completing it, but getting to, I think it's just Pharaoh's next.
Yep, Sphera at 235.
Not looking forward to that, because I feel like I'm pretty low on Arcane Force. I'm only at 660.
Yeah, the last part of the storyline on Sphera is pretty steep. Those monsters are, oh god, yeah. Like the requirement for the maps, I think, is at 600, so you can reach that. But the monsters themselves are like level 249, the highest level ones. When you're just 235, you're gonna see like a quarter or like a fifth of your damage when you're hitting those things.
Yeah.
And yeah, just you're like gonna be like 18 shotting in the beginning, but you know, as soon as you get the symbol, an extra 30, and oh, that's also with the arcane power from your like guild skill and from the current event as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I will say, as much as I don't like to give people homework and chores, symbol dailies are very, very important for
Yeah.
future
I
prospects
don't have
for
an
your
issue with
character.
doing them. I just I didn't have the money to
To level them?
upgrade my symbols.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Um,
wait, do you have like a backlog of them now, or?
well, I wanted to avoid a backlog.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, them filling up my inventory.
Right.
Or just doing the dailies for no reason if I knew I couldn't use them.
There is a way to kind of store them in a pretty efficient way. Because they work like equips, right? So you can unequip them and unequip another one if you want. Like you could unequip a level 10 and equip a level 1 symbol if you wanted to. And then what you can do is you can throw 10 other symbols onto it, so that it goes like 11 out of 12 on the first level.
Yeah.
Then unequip it and then do another one. And then equip the 11 out of 12 onto the 11 out of 12 so that it goes to 22 out of 12. And then don't level it up. And then just stack that. And that way you can stack 22 symbols per slot in your inventory.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like in like 20 slots, you could keep more than 400 symbols just like waiting. And then whenever you do have the money, you can throw them in there.
Okay. Yeah, because I did everything I wanted to with 5, 10, 15. Didn't get really much of anywhere, but...
I see a bunch of 15s. Oh, wait,
yeah,
this
I didn't
was...
see them worth...
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I didn't see it as worth touching those since I will be replacing them.
Yeah, some of those are drop, right? So the City rings will probably get re-rolled into a drop meso.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would bump those to 16 or 17 because it ultimately, like right now, it's maybe a little bit too expensive and like diverting your resources, but ultimately, you do want to get like drop rate gear to 17 as well, just to make sure, because those higher levels, you do need the damage that you can get, especially if you're going to aim super, super high. Like where I'm training now, I'm training in full damage gear, like not any drop or meso. And I'm like barely scraping one-shotting, so yeah. Eventually, if you want to future prep for that as well, eventually you're going to need some super strong gear.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about the Sweetwater tattoo potential I got.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
But I feel like I won't be changing that for a while.
Yeah, probably be a matter of like getting another one and then seeing whichever one gets better.
Yeah.
If possible, of course. It's hard to top that for drop gear.
But so in general, I mean, should I try to get my CRA top and hat to legendary? Because I've been looking at them at unique, and I just haven't. I mean, investing the money on it, I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah,
I know we keep these for a while.
Well, you keep CRA forever, but the main thing is I think it's fine to keep them unique, especially in the current potential that you have, because they gain a lot of junk lines, specifically the top and the hat. They gain a lot of junk lines in legendary, and it becomes very expensive to roll better in the higher tier. And I would probably, in your situation, I would prioritize to get the like a full set of drop and meso, so like 5 lines of meso, 4 lines of drop, all in legendary. I think that's top priority right now.
Okay, and you said it was 5 of item and 4 of meso?
Other way around. So you can get up to 100% meso obtained from equips. So we want to max out on that. And then you need a total at least of like 67% drop rate to make sure that every single monster drops a bag. So 3 lines and then like decent holy symbol would be enough. But more drop rate. The drop rate stacks up to 200% from equips, and you'll get more nodes, more droplets, more cards. So in that sense, if you can go over on one of them, you would always want to go over on the drop rate.
Okay, so I might try taking the earrings up to legendary for that.
Yeah, if you can, of course, try to get like at least 1 line of HP on all of them, because that does add up quite nicely over all the equips.
Yeah.
They'll build back up. Yeah, so the pendant. Yeah, you're pretty close. could keep this pen for a while. I guess you kind of keep an eye on your kill potential and stuff, because the main thing for you is going to be, of course, that we don't want to go too crazy on switching everything to drop and meso. Like, not every single thing immediately. You should just do one equip at a time until it's finished, move on to the next one. Because even though you do have the high boost nodes, those are carrying you right now. But the lack of arcane power is going to become pretty apparent whenever you want to try to move to a new area. Yeah, that 50% extra chunk you need for that final damage gets really big. You get to a new area, 600 requirement, so the 50 chunk needs 900. That gets, yeah, pretty steep.
Yeah. Well, since I think it was just yesterday that I managed to get a flame that I can settle on for the Sweetwater pendant. And I know you always say to just kind of flame as you go, like don't spend money on flames since we don't really have any events surrounding them at all. Is there anything that I should prioritize to reflame with any extra flames that I get?
From what I can tell,
like with the pink bean holy cup, I know that apparently you can get tier 7 flames as a drop, but not as a reflaming it.
Yeah, so Eternals can get it at 1% chance. Drops can get it, but I think at the same chance. And then when you're fusing, I think you can get up to tier 6, only if you're a Meister or something. Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm just... If I get lucky with a better flame drop, then I'll swap it over, but I'm not too stressed about that.
Yeah, I think it's your hat and your pants that have the most potential for growth. Those are 16 and 5.
Yeah.
So those are probably the... Because the cup is like slightly lower level, but that one's 20 and 6, so that one's already like 12-ish flame score, 13-ish above that.
Yeah.
So it's probably be those two, if anything. All the other stuff seems pretty decent.
And I mean, I know I'm planning on going for Arcane this winter. But would you see it as worth it to go for an Arcane Staff in the meantime and a Abso hat, or should I just tough it out with the current setup until I can get the full set Arcane?
Yeah, I think if someone is like floating around in billions of mesos because they're playing all day every day, I would definitely say like go for the hat so you can pick up the extra 30 boss on the set bonus like in the meanwhile. But just the sheer extra magic attack you will get if you get the Arcane Staff and getting just even like a somewhat decent potential on it will already be a damage increase even if you lose that set bonus buff. And it'll also allow you to just focus harder on the hat, get the hat stronger to make the difference even smaller, and then you won't have to... I feel like it's a little bit of a sidestep that's not always necessary. And I would say like if you have the cash, then do it, but otherwise just focus on the prize at the end to focus on dropping it all onto the Arcane.
Yeah, because it kind of hurts when I look at my my fake Arcane. You know, it's sitting at 614 magic attack compared to my Abso Staff, which is only 455.
Yep.
And I mean, I know the Abso in this setup is better, but sometimes I'm looking at it and I'm looking forward to at least this winter to when I can get the full set.
Yeah,
now, do people go with the Arcane overall, or do they keep CRA?
CRA, yeah,
and go everything else?
Yeah, because you get you get 2 flames, you get 2 sets of potential lines, and you get 2 sets of bonus stats from Star Force, and you have way more backup. So that in total just makes it way more reliable and just way stronger to go for the set bonus instead over the overall.
Okay.
It's just glove, shoe, cape, and shoulder.
Okay, so basically the same Abso setup.
Essentially.
Just swap those out for Arcane.
Yeah, you just plan around CRA because that set bonus and those individual stats are just too good. One option could be that you do switch into the fake arcane weapon and then focus on the other pieces, and then set bonus switch it out already. That's what some people would opt to do, is like get the other pieces and use the fake weapon to do the runs on the hard bosses until you get an actual weapon drop, because the weapon is so expensive to make. Yeah, that could be a matter of just preference and how much patience you have, I guess. But being able to commit to the potential, of course, on the
yeah, I don't need
Arcane
the
is
crit
really good.
rate, and yeah.
What do you mean crit rate?
Well, on the fake arcane.
Right, yeah. It's
The useless potential line.
yeah. Yeah, for some characters, in some situations, it can be a little bit of a mitigating factor, but yeah, for most people, it's not really anything.
Yeah. And then my badge, should I mean, I've been holding it off for a while, but should I try taking that up to legendary?
Yeah,
Or
so
is
badge.
50% that's settle.
Yeah,
Now.
badge and heart are in the same category, that they have very low amount of junk lines, lowest in the game. So they are the cheapest to get to higher tier. So I would definitely focus on the drop stuff first. But after that, if you're looking at potentials and fixing up your stats and getting stronger, at least potential wise, then the medal would be like the first one to. The badge would be the first one to be able to make gains in the cheapest way. So I don't think it's priority right now, but because you want to get the drop in meso. Yeah.
Because I'm one-shotting everything that I farm at. Everything up until Lotus and Damien is a cakewalk, so I'm not really hurting damage-wise.
Yep. Yeah, and I would expect it as much, yeah.
But I think as far as gear, that's about everything I needed.
Yeah, no pieces. I guess ring-wise, you said that you're close to crafting Meister?
Yeah. The only thing I'm struggling with is the advanced monster crystals.
Okay.
I only get about 20 a day from doing my boss runs and disassembling the penciler I get from farming.
Yep.
So that's kind of what I'm time gated on. I don't know any good places to go farm for gear to disassemble to get the crystals.
Yeah, that'll be one thing if you're training and you get the drop in meso gear a bit better, and you get a bigger drop familiar, hopefully. That just the amount of gear that drops will increase as well, and then it'll be way more to extract as well.
Yeah, because right now I'm only getting about 1,800 experience, and I'm like halfway to Meister from Master.
Yep.
But I mean, that's it's not a huge deal for me because I'll only end up taking it up to 17. I'm not going to 22 yet, or 21. And then once I have,
that's kind of another thing, is that those rings, when you're at 17, are essentially like equivalent to the stronger event rings that are in the shop right now. So you could also opt to go for those rings instead. I don't know if you're like on track to do that, but you could opt to do those as well and just hold onto your resources for a bit longer until you're really planning on pushing past 17 and pushing to 20 and maybe even beyond that, and then like commit to that hard once you have all like more materials. You can go harder on that.
Yeah, I do want to craft a couple of Meister Rings while I'm up there. Just I heard they're good for transfer hammering. If you can get them up to 22.
Yeah, Meister or the kind of treasure rings, because that gives you some more time as well to maybe gather more kind of treasure rings. Like, let's say that you want to push your accessories to 21, and you get lucky on like your second kind of treasure ring, or maybe, God forbid, your first one, and you end up like with 3 backup kind of treasure rings. Well, at that point, you can just use kind of treasure ring to transfer hammer into the superior, and you don't even need to rely on the Meister.
Okay.
So
and Meister is one of the best in slot, correct?
If you get him high enough Star Force, yeah, like essentially like the most attainable like best in slot would be the Meister, the kind of treasure, the superior, and then probably the reinforced.
Yeah. And I should focus on getting the pendant before getting the reinforced ring, correct?
Yeah, you want to get the full superior set rolling first for the boss and IED, yeah. Yeah, you can use until you're going past 17. You can just use the event rings, the stronger event rings, or like the chaos ring, are basically at the same level. So it's no big upgrade. You're just spending money to get to the point where you can hopefully make one that's even stronger. And then once you get to 18, 19, then that's when it surpasses. But typically you don't hold an 18 or a 19. It's usually kind of just like waiting for the next 5 to 15 until you have enough money to push to 20 or beyond.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest issue. Is I get burnt out on meso farming.
Do you do that on a separate character?
No, I do it on my main.
Okay.
I have a Kana, but I really don't like the way the Kanas play. So I haven't gotten around to building her out as a meso farming character.
You're kind of on a fence still if you want to make that investment, or?
Yeah. I mean, obviously leveling would be the biggest thing for my Kana. I think my Kana's only like 205 or 204.
Oh yeah, I think I saw it in the... Yeah, it says 204 here. The donkey link.
So, I mean, I get about a little over 1 bill a week from MapleStory. Almost a bill from bosses. I mean, if I take it easy and don't burn myself out, I can save up money over time. I just wanted to make sure I had enough to get everything I needed from the winter update.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But then juggling, cubing the rest of my gear and any possible Star Force events coming around. That's where I kind of felt like everything was piling up against me.
Yeah, I think once you get the drop in the meso set complete, which shouldn't be a huge investment compared to where you are, because you're definitely well on your way, you'll see your average income just going up quite a bit, and the rates from like regular training will become substantial. I don't know if you have access to enough Legion coins. Oh, you have quite a lot, yeah. You have access to Legion coins when you're training, right, for the extra... Because then you get even more efficiency out of the Legion wealth as well, right?
Yeah.
So your training sessions will become much more profitable, and I think that will make the whole climb way more doable. You'll earn back the investment in the drop in meso gear quite handily.
Yeah. And just to double check, it's 5 meso and 4 item potential lines.
5 meso, 4 item, yeah. Because that's 9 equips. If you do get double lines on something, then you just add that to the total, but 5 meso is set, and then as much drop as you can on top of that. At least 1 line per item, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think as far as gear progression, that answered almost all my questions. I can't think of any other ones.
Yeah, you already have the... Oh yeah, you have the loving memory, so that's basically the same as the 7-day monster parker, right?
Yeah, and I also have the... I think, what is it, the title that you got from the event, which gives the 10 weapon and magic attack, 15 all stat, 5 boss, 5 IED. So, yeah, I heard those were... That was like right when I started playing again.
And people were like, "Oh, it's best in slot. You gotta get it."
Yeah. Yeah, I was proud of my progress so far. I started back in, I think it was like late March, and I had like 300 Legion. My BattleMage was level 180 with like 3k stat.
Yeah, you kind of quite a while, quite some progress.
But I mean, then again, I play for about 6 hours at work every night, and then another 6 hours when I get home from work.
At work, you got like a security job. You can just play on the.
Well, it's I do maintenance for the airlines, and
oh right, that was you.
They just assign us like one airplane that we go through. We do his checks, make sure it's good to go, no tires or anything. And once you're done with your airplane, you're done for the night. So some people go to sleep. Some people have their laptops out.
Right.
Watch Netflix.
Oh, that was the one where you did the really long shift recently, right? That was you?
Yeah, there was an issue with the airplane. They diverted to a different airport, and it was the whole mess. But,
oh, you fixed it.
Well, we timed out as I guess there's like federal laws on how long you can work
Yeah.
in one shift.
Yeah,
So
because of failure, you're more likely to make mistakes after a certain amount of hours.
yeah,
You used
so they sent us home and sent another pair of guys down instead.
yeah, team 2 to keep watch. Yeah, I think they did a lot of that with doctors as well, right? I think in the past it was pretty common for doctors to run like 30, 40-hour shifts, but I think they've started toning that down quite a bit to be like, well, maybe we shouldn't be mentally, physically destroying the people who are trying to save other people's lives. Or, you know, if it's your responsibility for something that important, you know, like the safety of an airplane that's going to keep hundreds of people safe miles in the air, like it's probably a good thing that to make sure that everyone's sharp working on that stuff.
Same thing with the pilots too, except they have it easy because our airplanes they have auto land
Yeah,
and
I was gonna say
autopilot.
you don't have auto
So
fix.
yeah, once they take off, they just press a couple of buttons and the plane will fly itself and land itself.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot. I mean, you have to do all the checks and make sure that everything's correct. But once, from what I understand, once all of that is checked, yeah, a lot of it is technology taking over these days. Sometimes for the worse, right? I think one of those Windows 2, I don't know which ones it were, but there were like 2 airplanes that went down, right?
Oh, the 737
Yeah,
Maxes.
737 Max, yeah. With the
So
nose getting pushed up or something when you're losing altitude or some shit like that.
so a small fact about that is the 2 airlines that lost, the planes to that, they opted out of the additional pilot training
Right.
for
That
that
was
system.
the training. The
So
pilots didn't know how to counteract the system taking over or some shit, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as you just push a single button in the cockpit
Yeah, you just have
to
to know which
override the computer.
which one of the 6,000 buttons to press, because you see those sometimes you see those simulation things, right?
Yeah.
And it's like oh my god, like there's millions of buttons. It's like, what do you do? And the main thing is like figuring out what is what.
Surprisingly, everything's laid out in a
I would hope so.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Like,
that they're like connected. It's not like
you have all your hydraulic related buttons in one area, your
yeah.
fuel related buttons in one area.
The gauges are all like the relevant gauges on one side.
Yeah.
You've got someone on the warpath in the chat right now. Shenanigans is 7 people left, right, and center. Be careful,
You
chat.
might take first place soon.
Yeah, look at how many. It's like close to 300 gifted subs. That's insane. Holy. Yeah, as long as your job is doing well, I guess it's gonna pick up, right? A lot more flights, from what I assume.
Yeah, so I mean, the guys at work, they track it from like how many people go through TSA, like our security screening. I think at the beginning of when COVID was at its worst, I think we were only flying 300,000 people a day, as opposed to close to 3 million.
I was gonna say like millions, yeah.
And now we're up to like 2.5 million.
Isn't there
So
like 100K or like even more people in the air at all times, just above the U.S.?
I believe it.
They're like
if
never
that
on the
is
ground.
case.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think there's a flight taking off around the world every like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah. Even on just one airport, it's like coming and going constantly.
Yeah, I think the airport I work at, they do 24 departures and 20 landings every hour.
Every hour
is what they're legally allowed.
Yeah.
So that's almost once a minute.
Legally allowed. You bet your ass they're gonna get as close to that as possible. Cause like.
Well, apparently it's like a slot rule because there's 3 airports, like 3 major airports around where I live, and they have to limit it to keep it competitive.
Right. Yeah,
allow
otherwise
other
people start
to
like,
get air traffic.
Yeah, or then maybe they start like cutting corners and speeding things up, and then that leads to safety problems, safety protocols not being followed as closely as they could, or stuff like that. Yeah. Sometimes you need to protect the people from themselves. I mean, airlines have like pretty narrow profit margins, right?
For the most part, yeah.
There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people who think like, oh, we can do this. We can make quick bucks. Like, no. It's not that
They,
not
I don't
that
know how
simple.
they make any money to begin with. With the narrow profit margins, the only way they make money is by flying. Like our airline has like 800 to 900 airplanes,
Mm.
so they have to be flying all of them, making that narrow margin of profit
Yeah.
to stay profitable.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine with like how much you get paid for all the maintenance and stuff. Like how much money is there lost with an airplane just sitting there and not being able to fly? You know?
Yeah, and
Like,
it's crazy how expensive parts are just because they have to be certified as safe for the
hmm.
airplane.
I
I think
imagine.
one
Yeah.
week we had a navigation issue and we replaced like 6 different computers, and each of those computers was like $480,000.
Jesus. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah. It's a lot of money. You're just like holding a computer like worth
Now,
a few
I
years worth
believe
of.
what they do is they take the computer and they ship it out to get repaired, and
Yeah.
it's less expensive than actually buying a new computer.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. They just like exchange, and then that one gets completely recertified, and then put into another one somewhere else. Yeah.
Uh, I'm sure it's still a couple grand to get it repaired, but
Oh yeah.
it's expensive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That seems like an almost an understatement. Expensive seems to be like you get your I don't know, like a problem with your bike, and it costs you like $100 to get a new bike tire or something, or like you get your car fixed for, and it's like 3K or something, but like 450K is like life-changing money on a computer.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, imagine the amount of liability when something goes wrong with one airplane. Like whole airlines have gone under for less than that.
Yeah, if a mechanic is found to have made a mistake out of gross negligence, they face a count of manslaughter for every life lost.
Yeah, that's 35
So
accounts of like life or some shit, even for like a small plane.
yeah. Same thing with the air traffic controllers. That's why they have one of the highest suicide rates.
Yeah, you see them always in movies, like that they're like on the last second trying to like avert planes from like intersecting all the time. Seems very
Which normally
stressful.
that's which normally that isn't
Yeah, it seems highly exceptional.
a normal
Yeah,
situation.
yeah, for
But
sure, yeah. There was one, oh, was it a movie or was it a TV show? I don't remember exactly, but there was like it was like a communication problem, and then one, I don't remember if it was a movie or, I think it was a movie. Yeah, I don't remember exactly. But like the guy, they were basically trying to blame him as if he made a mistake, but it was like a communication problem, and someone else fucked up the communication between the tower and the airplane. And he like told one airplane to do something, and then the other one didn't hear anything, so they were like, okay, we're gonna go do this then, and then they did the same maneuver, and then by the time he saw it, they like just ran into each other. It was like two airplanes. Everyone.
yeah, I know Breaking Bad had a scene where the guy crashed 2 airplanes because he was, I guess his daughter or something had overdosed and he
Hmm.
went back to work. Um,
I think yeah, I remember that one. But yeah, it was something similar. That was like a heavier guy, right? Like a
yeah,
bald, heavier guy. Yeah, yeah. The other one was like a little bit of a scrawny, smaller dude. Yeah. I think it was based on true story, but no, not sure. Okay, well, we're getting a little bit off topic.
yeah.
uh,
Well, that was all the questions I had.
yeah, fully serviced.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I think when it comes to the matrix and everything, I don't see the exact numbers, but there is there a second thing you're going? Second set of trinodes you go for?
So
Oh yeah,
I have,
Dark Genesis, Sweeping Staff,
let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going with the Battle Burst instead of the Dark Chain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have not been able to get, so it's my highest level trinode is Battle Burst, Finishing Blow, and Sweeping Staff.
Mm.
And it's level 20. I have not been able to find a single one that has the 3 that I need. But as soon as I get that one,
Yeah, you can move
I'll
over.
have my 4-piece dual trinode set up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. And Abyssal Lightning is really good burst damage, right?
Yeah, when it's up.
Yeah, not so much when it's
It's got,
down.
I hate that everything else is around the same cooldown, except that
Yeah.
one's twice as long as everything else.
Is it a 180 or a 240?
200.
Yeah, or 200.
Aura Scythe and Grim Harvest are both 100, and that
Hmm.
one's 200.
At least it's a multiple, right? So you can use it every other. It's not like one is like 90 and the other one is like 230 or something. It's like it doesn't even. It's not even a multiple of times, so it's desynced that way always. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I time how long bossing takes, so that I don't usually look at the timer.
Hmm. You just know
Like
like
Helix,
three
with
aura
Helix I used
sites.
to get, yeah, it used to take me 2 Abyssal Lightnings to do Helix, and now I get it done before my second one's off cooldown.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good feel. You do feel the progress there. If you do bosses regularly, you do feel your character getting stronger and like your intervals with your skills, and that you don't have to go through as many burst cycles. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
usually a good feeling. Kadena burst is also 200. Oh, that's nice. That's cycled for boss parties where that's cycled. Because wait, 180 200. That's like domain cycle, right? Isn't domain somewhere around there? Was like
I-
190 or something?
You'd probably know better than me.
Listen, I don't play Kana, man.
I'm a casual Kana player.
195. See, that's around there. Oh yeah, so that's actually nicely synchronized with that. 195, 196. 196. Oh, Noah, fake news. It was 196. Report him, chat. Spreading fake news. Unmodded. Pepe has. Yeah. So that's really close to that same cycle. Then that's really cool that you can rotate that. Like a lot of other classes. I mean, you usually still wait until the bind is up, right? But yeah, I guess you can like alternate binds and make sure that you always go on the timer instead. That probably is better for the DPS. With Merc Legion block, it comes down to like 187. Oh yeah, I heard. Yeah, that was a thing. Okay, yeah.
Wait, do Legion blocks affect 5th drop skills with cooldown?
The Mercedes, yes, that one does. Yeah, and the hats do as well. The cooldown hats, but not the chance to skip cooldown and not the buff duration. That doesn't work.
Okay. Well, I assume the 3 seconds that's possible on the hat wouldn't be worth it over the stat.
Yeah, no. For some classes it is though. Like I'm doing the Fire Poison Mage right now for Project CRA, and all of your 5th job skills it's like 25 seconds, 25 seconds, 30 seconds, and 75 or something. So and since you're just purely DPM essentially because you're just constantly rotating all the 5th job skills, lowering the cooldown on those actually gives you a lot more damage increase. It doesn't really increase your burst all that much, but increases your total damage you do over a long duration of a boss fight by quite a bit. So yeah, it's kind of reliant on how bursty you are. And
Yeah, I only have the
cooldown.
3 5th drop skills with the long cooldown. So
Yep.
a couple seconds isn't worth it.
For mobbing, that's nice though, right? You can kind of like alternate between all of them.
Yeah, I put up the altars and the big, large AoE.
The Grim Harvest. Yeah.
Yeah, and that covers up the entire map. And then when those run out, I swap over to Aura Scythe. And I mean, that's easy enough to wipe the map also. And then by the time Aura Scythe is up, I can put my summons back up.
Yep. And Abyssal Lightning whenever it's done, I guess, to give yourself a bit more breathing room.
Well, surprisingly, I don't use it that much when I'm farming.
Doesn't increase your rates? Because, I mean, you can teleport quite far with it, right? And kill everything on your way there?
If you get lucky, it's...
Yeah, it's RNG, right? Where they put the things, yeah.
Yeah, and I have my bind for that skill in an awkward spot. And you have to keep pressing that same skill key to do the teleport.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same. I think I put it on R or something, and then you have to keep pressing. Yeah, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
For bossing, though, I think
doesn't...
it does a lot of damage, right?
Yeah, it does a ton of damage in bossing.
But you don't reuse it when you're bossing for damage?
No.
You just use the telecasting?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Does it do extra damage if you do that cast?
I believe,
Let's see, Black Lightning.
like, if the teleport is on top of or really close to the boss, I think it's beneficial to use it again to, like, teleport, because then you basically do the same damage as you would with the telecasting, but then also the extra explosion of, like, arriving at the door. So
Oh, okay.
if they're like on top of the boss, like if Vellum is up and he's shooting fireballs and the portal is also right next to him, might as well teleport there and use that as like to weave that in, and you're gonna have to move out of the way anyway because tails are coming and stuff. But if it's out of your way, then yeah, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, so Dark Shock hits 5 times for 225%,
Mm-hmm.
and Abyssal Lightning does 5 times of 640% at the level that I have it at. So it's a huge increase in damage.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, because I remember when I think there was a BattleMage running, I believe, with Pocket that people were talking about running Black Mage. Running Black Mage, and he was doing his bursts. I think went up by like 60% when Abyssal Lightning came out
Jeez.
because of the attack speed, and so he could reroll his invulnerability plus the Abyssal Lightning combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much. Yeah. And it has what defense ignore? Oh yeah, and it also has 20% defense ignore built into it.
Yeah. I think I believe every Battle Mage skill has it built in, except for Sweeping Staff.
Mm-hmm. You use that when you're bossing? Is that beneficial?
Well,
Yeah, it's part of the
damage
the
increase.
aura. Yeah, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I never really recast it to do the Black Lightning teleport.
Mm.
But I might start doing that.
Yeah, I guess maybe check on some bosses, see if it helps. It might be a small difference early on, but I think when you're trying to like min-max your BA and burst in the harder bosses and stuff, and there is a teleporter like right next to you on top of the boss, I think it's beneficial to take that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Might
So
need
not
to.
only does Abyssal Lightning have higher damage rates, but you also get 80% final damage when you use that instead of Dark Shock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, 8%. Final damage 8% only when activating instead of Dark Shock. Yeah.
And I'm assuming that means teleporting to the little portal things, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Is Mana Overload worth leveling, or is it fine at level 1?
I know it's good to have at level 1 for sure. Let's see. I usually just wiki it and see what happens when you level it up. I think the final damage goes up a little bit, but not that much. Yeah, all the way max it goes up to 11%.
It's a 3% final damage increase.
Yeah, and the cooldown goes down, but it's a toggle anyway, so.
I think I'll hold off on leveling that then.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to get
okay,
Holy
yeah.
Symbol maxed.
Mm-hmm.
Just for leveling.
Yeah. Yeah, usually for Holy Symbol I went until like level 20-ish, like low 20s I think. Because of the efficiency kind of goes down there in the higher levels as well, right?
Yeah, and it's costs a lot of nodes to level it past 20.
Yeah. So if you have a 20 and in the level 5 slot, then you're 3% EXP away from the max and 2% drop away from the max for those last 5 levels.
Yeah, it's not worth it then.
That's pretty close. So at that point, it's probably... I mean, even at level 24, it gives you the same as level 25, just a little bit shorter duration. So I think like 24, when boosted, is probably a good sweet spot. I think that's where you have it, right? Level 19?
18.
Oh, 18? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with that's with the level 5, yeah. Yeah, now you're 29 and 20. Yeah, so now you're 6% off of the max EXP and 4 off of the max drop. That's pretty close. Because I think for bossing, if you want to push that more, Abyssal Lightning might be nice. I don't know how good Grim Harvest is on bossing because how many hits does it get off?
It's useful in Helix, but one of our hyper skills, I believe it's Yeah, Master of Death. Normally, Grim Harvest attacks at a set interval.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like every 3 seconds. With Master of Death active, it basically attacks one hit after the other,
Oh yeah.
but its duration can't be extended.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's the only time that I've found it to be useful.
Okay. Yeah. So for interoperability, I guess to wrap that up, rework. There's a rework on the way from KMS, and you're going to need way more honor experience really before you can do anything substantial there anyway. So the main thing is, again, like the drop rate is going to help you as well get more honor experience medals. And the other thing is, if you can do dojo weekly, and get like a decent result there, you can buy honor experience medals from the dojo shop. And there's also honor experience medals in event stores that are not to be underestimated when it comes to helping you get the value for your endgame interoperability. And since it's going to be so expensive, and since there is a change coming, I would just kind of focus on just getting honor experience slower over time and just holding on to all of it until the change hits. And then, because re-rolling is going to get cheaper and they're removing some junk lines and everything, so that's going to get more efficient to roll for your endgame interoperability.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll just save up on my honor experience then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can we clap in the chat for Shenanigans for reaching 300 gifted subs? Jesus. And if there's anyone in the chat who's still not subbed, well, there isn't actually. I'm just scrolling up. They got everyone. It's a lot. Yeah. If you have nothing else you can think of, then I think we are good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always heard that we need to get, a meso and item drop rate set, and I've been holding that off because I've been so broke for the longest time.
Yeah. Well, you stay broke if you don't have one.
Yeah. Just trying to get all my gear up to a level where I can fight the bosses I wanted to. But I think I'm at a pretty healthy point now where I can do everything up until normal load or normal lucid for the party. So I guess it's back to the meso grind.
Yeah, and you're mainly a support still, right? So your personal damage isn't the most important thing. It's still important, but like it's not the most important thing, especially in the lower level lucid. Like you have to just dish out lines and support the team, debuff the boss. Like that's your job.
Yeah.
And then if in the background you make sure that you start laying the foundations to make a lot of money, so that when everyone needs to start doing a lot of damage, now suddenly you're here with all of your money, throwing it in your character and getting a lot stronger. Then you're like in the ideal position to to make that extra money that you made in the meantime, make that all work for you.
Jeez. Yeah. Sometimes I underestimate how much support role battle mages play.
Yeah, it's gonna change in Guild PQ, but like Kala said, I think in Rainsong's guild they calculated how much damage in the whole run is contributed just by the debuffing and the buffing of the BattleMage. It's like 400 trill damage is dealt by one character. So one character is essentially bringing to the table like what basically 3 times my arc brings to the table, just in supporting even stronger people. Of course, yeah. Takes a village.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, well, that's basically, and Kanas have this a lot as well when they're like, oh, I want to be stronger, I don't want to get carried and stuff, and it's like, well, I mean, if you're bringing domain and binds and shells and and everything to the party as a Kana, you're actually carrying your party. It's not the other way around. Like, but it's like when you're playing sports, if you're not scoring the actual goals, sometimes it can feel like, oh, that player is like unnecessary there. But if you're blocking all the other goals on the other side, then you may let your team win, right? But yeah, sometimes by doing the more invisible stuff that doesn't really get all the shiny medals and you don't have the huge BAs, that doesn't mean that you're not the most valuable person in the party.
Yeah.
And as long as you enjoyed this class, there's definitely a place for battle mages for sure. But sometimes it'll be your job sometimes to kind of like educate parties on being like, hey, can I join? And they'll be like, battle mage. And you'll be like, well, I mean, here are the numbers. Like, this is what I bring to the party. And they'll be like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. No, ever since BattleMage released, it's been my favorite. I've made one on Bara, one on Scania.
We got one everywhere.
I made one on like 3 different private servers.
I was gonna say, yeah, the private servers are
one on here.
Yeah. Now EU is next, or?
Well, I don't know if I can deal with the ping. I don't know if telecasting's client-sided yet or not.
Most teleports turn to client-sided, but I mean, all the other stuff with high ping is, if it's not the teleporting, it's still everything else that's suboptimal. So, yeah, I wouldn't really advise it.
Well, we're getting close to the time anyway.
Yep.
That went a little longer than I expected.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. I mean, we're more than willing to take a little bit extra time for you, considering the generosity this week. So, no worries.
Yeah. Well, good luck with the stream. I might go get something to eat, and then it's back to the grind.
Yeah. All right. Enjoy the grind. Good luck with everything, and I'll see you around.
Yep. That's it.
All right. See ya. Wow, isn't that beautiful? Okay. It was a good stuff. I don't know what's going on in the chat in the meantime. I think we got like 25 gifted subs gathered together or something by Shenanigans, Smo, and where? Wait, I'm scrolling. And Gluten-Free Tears. Gluten-Free, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. I don't know how many Shenanigans gave, but it was like a massacre in the chat. I think it was like at least 10 as well. And then 5 from Smo. Thank you very much, guys, for your generosity. We're completed the level 4 hype train. Look at that. What emotes can I get? Hype sus. Ooh. What is this one? Hype mine. A hype scream. I still don't have those. Hype contributors. Overload Smo has contributed 5. Wait, why are you number 1 with 5 when someone else gave 10? And that also. Wait, don't Gluten-Free Cheers is 10 count? System is rigged. Didn't dodge. Bad dodger, Bashari. You got hit. Man down. Womp the whole time. Yeah, it was near the end of the session anyway. So you're 11 since last night. Yeah, true. Oh sh. Well, few more womps. While we listen to some womps in the background, thank you, YouTube people, for watching. As always, if you want a session like these as well, check the description of the video. If you have numbers for me in form of battle analysis, monster skill per hour, or training videos, you can also see that in the description. Kuya with 5 more gifted subs. Thank you very much. Sesrats, thanks again for the 10, dude. Appreciate all the gifted subs. We're at 300% of level 5 completed. I think level 5 is good. Scam train is fully locked and loaded. What was I saying? Oh yes, check the description of the stream for that. Also, if you want to of the video for that, you guys aren't on the stream. You're in the video. Also, if you want to join the EU or the NA Scardor Guild, also make sure you check the description for the application procedure there. And I'll see you guys on the next video. I hope it was educational. I hope you learned a little something. For all the battle mages out there, both of you guys, hope you enjoyed the representation. I'm currently trying Fire Poison Project CRA, and I am struggling. So if you want to see me struggle the coming few days on that, make sure you tune in to the live stream. I stream live on Twitch. All right.